Morning and welcome to Garden 365 71. People say my head's always in a cloud. This morning it is, but so's the rest of my body. It's a really slow, misty start. We've had a wild duck invasion. There is absolutely loads of them there. They obviously like it here, and I think the reason why is they know they get some good food. Still plenty I can get on with though. Doing a midweek casserole, and I'll grow the carrots inside, so they're in the greenhouse. There's just a few really young ones there, so those will be for the casserole. And there's nothing new about me growing carrots indoors, but what is new, first time this year, I've grown turnips, or as Claire would say, neeps, which is the Scottish way of saying turnip. And those are the first two that I pulled, and I'm obviously happy with them. They're great. Here's a question for you. Guess the name of the plant that this flower is attached to. It's not as easy as you think. It's attached to a Venus flytrap. And that's a first for me. A flowering Venus flytrap. Wow. How impressed am I? And the house plants in general. Look at that hibiscus. Loads of flowers. Loads coming out in bud. And again, one that never seems to fail to impress me is the peace lilies in flower again. These just never stop flowering, and it's absolutely amazing. My tomatoes have all but finished now. There are a few left which we're letting ripen naturally, and I've still got my very late tomatoes which I don't think will ripen on the plant. We'll have to probably pick these and put them on the windowsill, but hopefully these are the tomatoes I have up to Christmas and beyond. That's a plan anyway. And in this area, Claire's going to use it for overwintering pot flowers. What I'm going to do is just tidy that up a little bit, and I'm going to start another little project there as well. Now in here I've got some soil that I've mixed up. Now what it is, a mixture of spent compost, which is compost which has been used for growing other things like tomatoes or whatever else, I don't know. There's some homemade compost in there, horse muck, and some low quality topsoil, all mixed together, which will now make some really good soil. And I filled up one of these containers. These containers are absolutely wonderful for transporting stuff around your garden. Great for weeds, great for harvesting your crops and bringing it back to the house, and loads of other jobs too. Definitely recommend these. And the first job for my soil mix is just to top up my Christmas potatoes. Now all I'll do is just cover the green. I'll go as high as that. This is one I planted a week or two ago. And there's definitely some sign that they're growing. And there's the original ones that I grew. Now there are lots of weeds around here. This is another one of my jobs for today. Well, for the weekend. And I've just covered up both enough just to hide the growth. And next week I wouldn't be surprised to see some more green propping through the surface. That's how quick they'll grow. And my latest batch of pak choi has all gone to seed, so it's not much use for anything apart from I've got some leaves, I've got some stalks, and I've got a bit of spent soil there. I wonder what I'm going to do with it all. I've also got some roots, and this could be used for compost, but it's also got another use. The stalks will be cut up small and added to my next batch of worm compost, or vermicompost as it's known. All in now, and all I do now is just mix it in with the rest, and then I'll use it for this week's worm compost. The courgettes that I grew in the compost have been absolutely wonderful this year, but unfortunately it's come to the end of their time now, so I'm going to pull them out, chop them up and chuck them in with regular compost. I could put them in worm compost, but I've got enough now. And the soil from the pak choi is absolutely sodden, so I'll just leave it in the greenhouse for Well, it's going to take about a week just to dry out a bit before I can process it. But then it'll just be added to my regular sort of compost soil mix. And the courgette has made a nice layer of greens. But also I've got 4 nice courgettes. I'll take them in the house shortly. We'll be eating them soon. And a layer of sticks from last year's compost. And to finish off nicely, and some poultry bedding. And that's done for this weekend. That much more to go to fill it up. But it will condense down. Look at the quality of the compost where the courgettes have been. Absolutely perfect homemade compost. Really proud of that. And I've got another bin full of homemade compost there as well. Starting to rain now, so I'm going to have to sort of head back into the greenhouse. Claire's just asked me to pull the cucumber out, so that's my next little job. Cucumbers have done okay this year. Not brilliant, we put them in too late, that was the main reason. But they've done okay. And not such a bad return, I suppose. Those are the very last cucumbers of the year. The greens in the compost, and obviously the cucumbers in the house for eating. I'm back to this job now, so I'm going to fill these full of the soil, or compost, whatever you want to call it. That's it. I've put 9 Calabrese in now. And you might be wondering, will that work? I'll have a look. Here's one I put in 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I almost guarantee that will have a Calabrese on at some point. I've just started clearing this last area in the greenhouse. It's not used for anything at the moment, and it's just got weeds at the moment. But while I've been doing that, I've got a little visitor. Look at him. And that's quite a big frog, that is. Really is quite a big frog. And as I said previously, I really quite like having frogs in the greenhouse because they eat the bugs. So he's more than welcome to stay here. Cleared the weeds out now, and now it's time to start digging. Need to go about 5 or 6 inches deep and then put some hardcore in. And then tomorrow, I'll be pouring some concrete in there to make a solid floor. Sunday morning, and it's much clearer today. So I really now can crack on the job I started yesterday in the greenhouse. It is a little windy though. I've had lots of people in the past saying, your soil looks absolutely great. And I've sort of got to agree with them now. It ain't bad at all, but when it started, it was almost pure clay. So what I've done is broken this up over the years, added lots of horse muck, added a lot of compost, and now you see the results. So a lot of hard work, but that's our base soil, pure clay. And it's hard to work with, I promise you, but it can be done if you work hard enough. Cleared it all out and added rubble. And the next is adding the mix into it and then levelling. That's it, it's done now. It's not perfect, but it's fit for purpose, and I'll show you next week what this area is going to be used for. So it's got a week to dry now. Oh no, there's a bit left over, so what am I going to use it for? You'll see shortly. Whenever we've had any concrete left over, just put it by the chicken house, just to stop the foxes getting in. So I'm going to put a bit there. I love the cottagey look of the grass grown between the raised beds, but obviously it requires maintenance, and that's what I'm going to do now. Just mow it down, probably the last or maybe last but one before the end of the season. To empty the grass. Just empty the grass straight into the compost bin. And just spread it out when you're done. And on top of the grass, some shredded cardboard and paper. Now that'll blow away, so I need to put something on top of that. Red currants, black currants, love Arocaceous soil. And what I've done previously is just put wood chip in here, and you can see it's really quite woody. So now what I'm going to do is put another layer of wood chip on. Well, that concludes this week's Gardening 365, Gardening 365 71. Join me next time for Gardening 365 72. Thank you ever so much for watching. Keep inviting your friends to Facebook. Please go along to our YouTube site, which is This Is On, so that shouldn't be difficult. And please subscribe. If you're enjoying the videos, there's no better way than to say thank you to me than subscribing. So please do that. And we'll see you next time. Have a great week. Bye.